Hey everybody, welcome, GM.
GM.
Well, as most of you know, Griff is on vacation right now, so I'm going to lead today's community call. I think we could probably go ahead and get started as people start to filter in. Welcome to community call number 151. This means we're going on almost 3 years of consecutive community calls, you guys. That's amazing. I'm Ashley, and I'll be facilitating today. So it looks like there's a couple new people here, so we'll just like kind of run through the praise game. I don't know how I feel about the reading it off thing, so let's just do what we're used to and we'll pass it around like we did. Top 3 praises for the week, and you can type it all into the praise channel, and this is where the magic happens. People will quantify it, and we will reward people based on this praise. So make sure to type it in there so that people can get recognized, and then just pass it to somebody when you're done. So I'll go ahead and start. For my praise, I really want to praise Mitch and Almond this week. Man, they have helped me so much support with all the impact quests, making connections, providing great ideas, reviewing documents, and just like really being on top of everything. I'm so grateful for you. I want to praise Corey for her attention to detail and the watchful eye that picks up on all the things happening in all the groups from all angles and just kind of streamlines it into actionable tasks for the comms team. At least I praise Griff and Lauren for taking a vacation. Yes, that's so awesome. And I will pass it over to Breechies.
Good morning, everyone. My praise for this week, one is for Kotabe because he's working really hard for the flea event. So that is the first one. The second one is for Mitch because he's always open to answer my questions or doubts that I have about tokens or liquidity, and I appreciate it. And can you listen to me? Yeah. Okay. And the third one is for Ashley because even when I know that she has a lot on her plate, like she's always able to help, and she follow up the bank listing on the token stuff on our platform, and also she joined the calls of Flea to give us some advice. So I pass it to Frichelle.
Hey GM, I want to praise Mitch and Claire for the teamwork on the next steps on decentralizing our DAO accounting. I want to praise Griff for organizing our 1 week Philippine gathering last week. It was such a blast, and I want to praise everyone who submitted their January time reports and for those who updated the role proposals. Thank you so much for this. And I'll pass it to Nicola.
Thanks, Rachel. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. I want to praise first Corey and Almond for organizing another amazing Twitter space for education and the way that you just like hosted it. Cool music, songs at the beginning, beautiful digestible information for people that are new to the Web3. Just like it's getting better and better every time. So praise you for that. I also want to praise Griff and Lauren for taking some time off and taking good care of themselves. We all know that you work super hard. And I also want to praise Corey for bringing a super sweet, magical Valentine's vibe to this week's comms call because it helps to our team like bond more together and nurture the community from within. And the meeting gets more warm and just the vibe is more cooler. So I really love it. And I'm going to pass it to Franco.
Thank you, Nicola. Hello, everybody. This week, I want to praise Suga for being a super fast reviewer and just making my life easier updating the Giveth docs. I want to praise Mateo and Mitch for working on setting up everything related to the technical stuff for the distribution and analysis for praise. And I want to praise Nicola as well for explaining me more about Gravity DAO when what they do there, and encouraging me to do the next Graviton training. And yeah, that's it. And I'll dish the other praise in the chat, and I'll pass it to Jake the Snake.
Thank you.
I want to start with everybody that's really been pushing hard on the very important earthquake in Turkey and Syria. A lot of shilling going on. I think there's almost like $20,000 worth raised between those 4 projects. Really impressive. Another person that I don't really give a lot of praise to, but deserves it, is Shuga. She's been doing a lot this past week. Very well done, Shuga, on being everywhere. And then my last one would be for another person I don't get to say a lot, would be for Shell. She really does a great job. She's always around, always available, make sure that we're all in the right place, getting paid, as well as answering any of our questions at all hours of the day and night. I will pass it to Mo.
Thanks. I want to praise Monique for handling the backlog and helping me with managing the tasks and updating them. I want to praise not just one, but all of the developers. Most of the front-end devs that they're working on the new design for the homepage. They're really awesome. Thanks. And also I want to praise Kotabe for helping me with the Giveth mini prototype. Passing it to Rodri. Did you go? I don't think so.
Thanks, Mo. Hi, everyone. I want to praise Almo and Mitch for coordinate for the impression for the Denver banners. I want to praise Lauren for working with me in a lot of things. I want to praise all the dev team and design team for the amazing work with the new web amazing work. I pass to Monique.
Yeah, everybody. I want to praise all the dev team, especially Cherik, Rami, Metal, Ali Reza, for their great work on the new homepage. I want to praise Mohammed for the backend of the homepage and for the implementing the huge campaign web services and also fixing bugs for the notification center supported notification. I want to praise Amin for taking care of the backend bugs. I want to praise Mary Jan for QAing and Mo for great quality on the design. And I dish the praises in the channel and I pass it to Rodri.
I don't. Yeah. I don't.
Pass it to
I think you said my name, so I'm gonna go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm gonna praise all the members that have been involved in the outreach for the earthquake relief matching fund, especially Elgene, Jake, and Claire. I want to praise Mitch and Ashley for all the amazing job that they're doing with the ETH Denver quests and the rewards for that. Cannot wait to see it in person and be part of it soon. And my third praise, I want to give it to Suga for her wonderful job and proofreading our grant docs, which saves us a lot of time. So thank you as well, Suga. The rest of the praise, I wrote it in the channel, and then I can pass it to Almond. I don't think you've gone.
Thank you. My praise is for Ashley because we have been partnering in this madness and craziness for November preparation. And I want to praise Nicola for taking so much care and being on top of our booth for November preparations, and praise Rodri for delivering our roll-ups and banners for November as well. And I'm going to pass it to Mitch.
Thanks. Yeah, I want to praise Ashley and Almond for doing so much work with me on the Impact Quest coordination, prizes, getting the quest set up, getting everything ready. We are starting virtual Impact Quests on Monday. It's so crazy, so we're here. Praise Jarek for taking the lead on the front-end development of the PFP collection and just being really awesome, giving me coding tips. And the last person I want to praise is Rodri for just always being there, pumping out high quality designs on really hard deadlines, and so it's like I really, really appreciate how hardworking he is. And I will pass it on to Algie.
You're muted, Elgene. Are you there? Well, maybe while you figure out the mute button, we can pass it to Amin.
I'm so sorry. I was checking.
Yay! No.
Hi. Also, I want to praise Claire, Yas, and Jake for all the efforts put into raising funds for the Earthquake Relief Matching Fund. I also want to praise Fishal and Griff for spending a great week with me in the Philippines. It was really great co-working in one place with you guys. I also want to praise Lauren and Riches for all the hard work on the Gitcoin passport score improvement. So I want to pass it to Franco. Did he go already?
Franco already went, but I know that Amin didn't go yet.
Yeah, thank you. I want to praise for raising the emergency.
Amin, your audio is like breaking up very bad. You sound like a robot. We can't hear you very well.
You hear me now? Well, I have connectivity issue. You hear me?
A little better. A little better.
Okay. Tell me if it's not fine. I want to praise Lauren, Griff, and Moni for raising the Syria and Turkey's earthquake in the banner very soon after the event. I want to praise Mohammed and Carlos for working on the backend, lots of backend stuff, lots of backend update we had last week. I want to praise Carlos and Maito for working on integrating Chainwine in the application. I want to praise Churik Ehlers for preparing the PPP collection frontend. EG3, right? I pass it back to you, Ashley. I hope you have heard me.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was a little broken up, but I think we caught it. How about Kotabe?
Yeah, sorry, I was writing my praises. But my top praises for this week are praise Mo for all the hard work on the mini Giveth prototype. I'm sure it's going to look awesome. I want to praise Ashley for being such a nurturing and supporting working group steward and really, taking care of everyone and try to get everyone to be heard. And I also really want to praise, a lot of people, but Rodri for making a really quick design for the fleet. And I'll pass it to, let's see, has Heather, have you gone?
No, I'll take it. Thank you, Kotabe. I really want to praise Freshelle and Nico for all of the HR stuff that goes on in the background. I want to praise Nicola for being really involved in Gravity DAO and like onboarding me to it, or doing Gravity work, not Gravity DAO. And then I want to praise Marco and Vito for being really involved in the hiring process. And I will pass it to Santi.
Thank you, Heather. I want to give praise to Shuga for her Medium article on the earthquake projects. I also want to give praise to Cherry for his awesome work on the front end of the PFP collection. And I want to give praise to Mitch for all his support on the PFP collection and for publishing the documentation on the docs. I'll pass it to Nico.
Thank you. I'd like to give my praise to Heather for having an HR check-in with me yesterday. I'm very much excited for all the things that we plan to support our contributors more. Praise to Frischel for all her help with our VetCoda database that's happening this week. Praise to Kai and Moshe Hub for having their buddy call today. And I'm passing it to Yas.
Yes, already went. I think you were the last one, Nico, unless there's somebody else I missed. Let's jump into announcements. Yeah, no worries. Let's jump into announcements. There's so many announcements this week, you guys. Okay, as you heard in the check-ins, we've got these amazing projects supporting the earthquake efforts in Syria and Turkey. The first one you see here is the quadratic funding matching pool that we're starting in cooperation with Gitcoin to launch a quadratic matching round. So check that one out. And all of these are great efforts to support if you would like to, and there's a link here to each one, so you can easily click and go right to the project. Now our community events are picking back up. We've got a lot in the next coming week. We've got an interview in Spanish hosted by Kath from Bankless, and it's going to be in this really cool like immersive space called Spatial. I'm not really sure if you guys are familiar with this, but I was looking at it before the call and it looks really cool. It's like these really immersive spaces, and they've built one and they kind of have like Giveth featured in there. So they'll be in there talking about some of our projects and giving insights and stuff. Let's see if I can, oh my goodness. So it's like this really cool area and we can kind of like walk around, and this platform has so many really cool spaces like this. So that's happening on the 20th, which is Monday at 9 a.m. Costa Rica time. So be there, come hang out with us. And next up, we've got this really awesome Twitter space happening about ETH Denver. We're going to have Mitch and we're going to have Shannon and Danny, Almond in there, and everybody talking about what's going to make this year the best one yet. And that's going to happen February 21st at 11 a.m. So let's catch that. Be sure to catch that. And then last but not least, we have a Give Power party. And really, we're asking the community for your support. So we want to talk about Give Power, kind of like a retrospective, get feedback, as well as like just boost some projects together. And there's more planned for that. And Lauren will be there leading it. So we're really looking for people who have been using Give Power. If you know anybody who's been using Give Power, please invite them to come give some feedback because we want to improve it. And then down at the bottom here, we've got our community governance mechanisms. I updated the project nomination token log, so that is now working, and you can nominate projects and vote on the nominated projects. Unfortunately, the votes were cleared when it got updated. So if you did vote, then the votes were cleared and you'll need to vote again. I'm sorry. And then another token log here for our roadmap navigation, which we'll check on later in the governance group. So let's jump into our working group updates. Pass it over to the community circle. To Corey, did you want to give us some communications updates this week?
Oh, no. Yes, Corey is feeling a little bit off today, so I'm going to take it for her. So a little bit of updates regarding comms. You might know that the Giveth Twitter is basically the main communication channel for the DAO, so it's very important that you jump in to be aware of everything that's happening. So first, we have now running a quadratic funding relief for an earthquake relief for Turkey and Syria. So this is super, super important. We have to reach 25,000 for Monday. This is an effort in partnership with Gitcoin, Inverter Network, and Supermodular and others. So please make sure to repost, to donate, and to communicate this. And next, we have also regarding this important topic, as you may know, we have done a lot of efforts, as Jake was mentioning, there are a lot of projects in the platform raising funds for this matter. So we posted also the last community call in which we had some projects presenting their efforts as well. So check it out. And then in the third place, we have a new Medium post from the one and only Griff Green, Evolving Nonprofits into Region Economies. It was really hard to put out. A lot of people contribute to edit it, so check it out. And it's a really good text that explains the Giveth roadmap in a very detailed and accurate way, of course. So this is a great piece to share. So make sure to clap. Remember that at the bottom you can clap, and it would help for the algorithm. And then yesterday, as Nicola was mentioning as well, we had a great Twitter space regarding Web3 education with, oh, I think that has his microphone. Dab, could you mute yourself, please? I think that there's some music entering from your microphone. Thank you, Dab. Welcome. And then yesterday we had this amazing Twitter space with Bankless Academy, with the Token Engineering Academy, and with Humberto from Urbanica. So make sure to catch the recording. And if you have an idea of a Twitter space that you would like to put out, please let me know. We really appreciate your feedback. And then today, the one and only Danny Bell is going to be representing Giveth in the Common Ground Twitter space at 11, building intentional communities and support networks. So make sure to check that out, to tune in, and to support Danny Bell. Important to mention as well that the round 29 is out, so make sure to claim your give. The 29 give back round is out, and also regarding rounds, we have new verified projects. Praise Nicola for always writing these tweets announcing the new verified projects. There's a lot of projects regarding Turkey as well. So please share, repost, and support these projects. We have a great feedback session around the GM podcast this week. Praise the people that participate. Here, Ashley is showing the document. If you didn't enter or catch this session, please make sure to jump into this Notion and add your feedback to make the second season better. Also, I put a link of the metrics of season 1. And you can see that we have more than 4,000 plays, assuming all the platforms in which the podcast is out. So that's crazy. That's so cool. Also, you can listen to the whole season on Spotify or YouTube if you want to catch all the episodes. And we put out a project survey, very important to also share these feedback survey for project owners. We need their feedback, and we're rewarding people that is filling this form. So if you know project owners, please make sure to share this feedback form, super important. And last, we are working in an Ether landing page as well as the PFP collection launch landing page too. And we are pimping the website, the Giveth website, with Give Economy web page copy and testimonials and explainers too. So wait for that, and I'll pass it back to you, Ashley.
Thanks, Almond. Wow, that's really exciting. So many things. How do we do this all? We have a pretty small team, and we do so much, you guys. Next up, Communitas Working Group. We've got our weekly AMA and orientation on Wednesdays. This Wednesday will be the Give Power party, so come learn about Give Power, and any other questions we can answer as well. And then our working group sync call happens on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Costa Rica time. So if you're interested in joining community builders or doing some community building work, that's the place to join. Updates. We'll be having a Meet the Makers retrospective session. I think this was our most successful session yet. So let's come together and find out what made it so great and how do we keep doing that again. There's a doodle here if you want to fill it out to join us, and the session will be scheduled soon. The ambassador program is well on its way. We're defining the rewards. We got our hands on there, putting out some ideas. Each one of us will bring kind of our ideas of what we think to the table and kind of see what the best way to collaborate on how we will distribute rewards for the ambassador program and what they might be. So keep an eye out for there. And if you want to get involved, there is the forum post here. If you have any ideas, you can drop them in here, or you want to be part of the conversation. yeah, as Mitch mentioned earlier, we are launching our virtual impact quest for ETH Denver next week. This document is not quite finalized, but you can see at least the virtual quests that will be available here, the description, kind of how to redeem them, and this will be kind of our landing page for people to find out how they can participate and what the prizes are and everything. So if you're interested in knowing more, you can find out some information there. And the last update I have here is our Aprendamos Refi community in Giveth. The first episode will be airing soon. Gonna try to get it out before Flea, but we know we're waiting on design, and design is very packed with other things right now, and so this is kind of not a priority and might not happen before Flea, but soon we will get this first episode out. So stay tuned for that. Down at the bottom, you can see we have our live in IRL events that are happening soon. We only have a couple more of these calls. These events are right around the corner. So we have them on Thursdays, one at 11 and one at 2. Get involved if you want. And collective brainstorming, ideas for Twitter spaces, Giveth essential sessions, community spotlights. If you think of a community that might be good to spotlight, put it in this document. Our next Giveth Essential session will be on March 14th, and it's around the GitHub flow for comms and how that works, and kind of like the workflow that we use there so that everybody can stay in the loop and be aligned. You can find the past sessions here on YouTube. There's a whole playlist of them. So all this insider information for is really valuable for contributors. And if you have any questions or ideas for future sessions that you want clarity on, there's a document right above, and you can put that there. Gravity is having their next monthly sync call on March 10th at 10 a.m. Costa Rica time. And if you're witnessing any kind of tension or conflicts in the community, let's make sure to utilize this type form here so that we can come together and find resolutions together and grow together and become more aligned. And if you're interested in being a Graviton or getting involved in the group, you can DM Nicola. And that's what I've got for Communitas. So I'll pass it over to Platform Circle and the Development Working Group. Is that you, Monique, or who's going to take it this week?
This is me, yes. GM, as you can see, our weekly sync happens at the Mondays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Central European Time. And let's take a look at the updates. Wow, we have lots of things to get delivered these days, especially next week's. The referral program is almost done on only the landing page. We hope we have the landing page at the end of this week. Notification center is done. You can click on the link and see what the feature is and test. We're doing the final test, and we hope that we have a release on Monday. The new homepage is almost done. Only a small, tiny issues left. The Give Economy block, I think, is left, and you can also see the branch if you're interested. Yes, actually, you can click on the new homepage title. You can see it in the slide, and you can show it to everybody. And also for the notification center, the same. Oh, oops. It's on the staging right now. I think the staging is down right now. However, yeah, on the back end, we finished the APIs of the homepage. We fixed notification for supported projects, the chain-wide improvements, and the applying changes. We did that. We changed the impact graph caching location, and reviewed and refactored the PFP contract. For the fiat, I think the on-ramper testing is still hold, but our only solution right now is in multiplayer top-up. The design is done, I guess, but it needs a review by Mo. And then we can start implementing that. Internationalization, you can see the feature branch if you click on the title. I hope the staging works in this case. But we have 75% covered. And the first feedback on the Spanish major, we have it, and we start meetings to review the contents and finalize it. I get synced with the Corey for the priorities of the design of the deployments, and for sure we have lots of deployments in the next weeks. And I pass it to I think we don't have Lauren, who's gonna take it.
Yeah. Thanks. I got it. Yeah, so let's jump into some Give Economy updates. PFP collection. Thanks. We are basically there. We're ready for testing. Cherik and Ali Reza are working hard on just squashing bugs on this, basically. Getting together the testing guide, and we'll have a party next week to go through this. And hopefully we can have it up and ready by the beginning of ETH Denver. So that'll be super, super cool. And stay tuned for when that test party is happening. Next thing on the agenda there is, thank you. GiveFi, just some little updates. Mostly been doing research this week into other protocols using something similar that we could fork to get Give savings going. So that's turning into a research project. Also like a fundraising grant sort of thing as well. So we'll see how that goes. Quadratic funding, I have no updates, unfortunately, this week. That's all in the hands of Griffin Lauren, so come back to that next week. My NFT auction, we're waiting on an answer from them to find out some final dates of when that'll happen, and we should know by sometime next week, hopefully. And another thing is the NFT integration. Santi's been talking with a bunch of people, talked to Zora, talked to Third Web, and talked to Unlock Protocol. And it seems like they're going to be the best bet. So the NFT integration basically implies allowing projects on our platform to launch their own NFT collection for fundraising for their projects, for their goals. So we're looking for the right fit with an existing project out there doing NFTs. Last thing, Sunset and Giveth Trace. Ramin and Suga are working hard to squash the last remaining traces of Trace, and just removing it from the DApp, making sure people understand it's been deprecated in our docs and so on and so forth. So that's still going along as well. That's it for the Give Economy, and I can pass it on to fundraising.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you, Mitch. So on the fundraising side, most of the effort is actually skewed towards outreach for the earthquake relief quadratic fund. We are reaching out to as many DAOs and orgs as possible to inform them about this project. We have nice templates and drafts ready, so if any of you feel you want to help out a little bit on this front, reach out to us, me, Jake, Algene, Breachies, and we will point you to the right direction. So any help here would be really appreciated. Continuing on the grants and fundraising side of things, with Polygon, this is a little bit old news, but with the integration and the dev work, we haven't started yet. So we actually received the 10,000, it seems, from the grant. And we will need to work with the dev team to just add the Polygon addresses. And I guess this will be the start to many other chains going onwards. With Celo, it's moving forward. We actually submitted a lot of metrics and submitted a lot of follow-up questions. We are having some calls. I'm very optimistic about this one, and it could be a big one. With the other grants that are in progress and under revision, there is optimism with the retroactive public fund. It seems it's coming to an end, so soon we should know the answer whether Giveth passed or not. I need to check that with Griff once he's back. We submitted a huge grant application for Ethereum Foundation, which is around how to turn public goods into impact DAOs, and I think the result of that will be manifesting in many other projects in Giveth. This was a huge effort from many sides of Giveth, so thank you everyone who was involved in that one. Other grants that we have submitted lately is the Ethereum Classic and Avalanche. With Jake, we are working on that, and we should soon know how those will move forward. Moloch DAO, it seems it didn't work, but we want to give it a second try. Radical, they will open the new round in March, so we will keep an eye on that one. And with Hedgie, we are in touch with them to actually configure the NFTs that we would potentially want to sell, maybe at ETH Denver. So that's also ongoing. With Public Goods Router, there is a lot of effort also going on there with many members involved. The projects that we're talking to actively are CowSwap, 1inch, Aave, Hop, Curve, and Beefy, so that they can add a very simple UX function on their application to so that some of the fees of the trade would go to our projects as donation. If it works, it's going to be quite impactful also for Giveth. And that's it on the fundraising side.
All right, let's pass it over to design.
Thanks. Okay, so this week we were still busy with some big issues like Giveth mini prototype. We are finally have the maze account and trying to add the prototype there and some workarounds for some issues and make it easy for user to interact with. MT plugin integration is also happening and we are trying to make it easy for user to work with and it's almost done and for fixing some issues with the design we are started working on emergency tags for projects and some other issues related to the give power and still if you, the project single page forum is up and if you have any feedback if you think there is any issues that we have to solve please just reach out to me or Tosin and let's talk about that thanks I pass it back to you Ashley.
Thanks, Mo. I think you guys are modest. I know design is working on so many things, but it looks great. And I'll pass it over to governance. That's, I assume, Mitch, you're going to take that one again, or?
Curveball. Let's do it on the fly then. I did not update this slide at all, but let's have a look at what we got in there. Oh, go ahead for Shell. Yes.
I'm gonna take it. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna take the governance updates this week. So vacation. I'm so happy to see many people are taking time off this month and the next. So please leave these people alone. And if you also want to enjoy some vacation time, please do so and let the team know. And here are governance forum posts that are worth checking out. So we have updates on parameterizing our karma integration, and Griff left some feedback there. And then we have the January core team compensation reimbursement proposal, which is open for review and comments. Also, there's an update on the technical services partnership with General Magic. So yay to additional revenue stream for Giveth. So this is worth checking out. And next, we have a very interesting topic about Gitcoin and Giveth partnership on quadratic funding and beyond. So some things were straightened out during this week's governance call, but inputs and feedback are still welcome. And there's also movement on whether bank tokens should be accepted. And lastly, Almond and Franco updated their rope proposals, and it's up for advice process. So go vote on the polls if you're good with the proposed changes or not. And I'll pass it to Heather for hiring updates.
Right, yes. So we have 2 open roles, and both of them are for General Magic. The first one has been rebranded as the Chief Technical Officer. So a person who just really enjoys coding and enjoys teaching coding to others, and then also has some experience with project management and client relations. And then we are currently looking for a UI designer, so a person who is passionate about like designing websites, wireframes, doing some marketing, promo material, and this is like a junior to mid-level position that's open. And that's all from me. So I will pass it to whoever is next, or back to Freshelle.
I think this is me. It's got my name on it. Yeah, so the DAO working group, we got our calls weekly Mondays at 10 a.m. Mexican time. 9 Mexican time, 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central European. Some real quick updates, not a lot to talk about, but I will tell you, if you are included in the Q4 2022 vesting, check the Givestream page. You got a buttload of give there waiting for you to claim. After that, I am still in touch with the Karma team, and the parameterization of our analytics is in full swing. So that's really, really cool to see. As you can see, nothing to vote on. You guys are amazing. Done this week, so there's nothing outstanding to be voted on. Token log, Ashley's got it open right there. Giveth referral program, going full steam with Chainvine. Fiat integration, project activity feed, the PFP collection, discussions. Those are the top 5. If you hold Give tokens, you can get in there and vote. And that's it for the DAO, and I'll pass it on to Ashley for the community spotlight.
Thanks, everybody. It's so great to see this every week, and I love the crabs and the vacation thing. That's great. So I'm pleased to introduce PeopleDAO as our community spotlight this week, and we have Matter Turbulent here. I believe you'll be presenting, right? Welcome.
Yep. Me to jump into it?
Take it away. Feel free to
Okay.
share your screen if you want or anything. Go ahead.
Awesome. I will do that. Okay. Do you see the PDF?
Yes.
Awesome. So as I get into this, also just want to share a little bit about myself so you know who's even talking. Yeah, so my pseudonym is Matter Turbulent. I actually have a public policy background, and my day job is working for a U.S. city. But Constitution DAO flipped me from being a passive participant in Web3 who mostly just watched YouTube videos, maybe invested in DeFi, flipped me into an active participant where now I've held some leadership roles in DAOs and are working on building products. So I'm currently a core contributor in PeopleDAO, leading the incubator program, and I'll talk more about that throughout the presentation. A little bit more background. I have 3 years of dev experience, mostly in data science capacity. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, I like to read at least one nonfiction book and one fiction book at the same time. Any more than that, it gets a little unruly. But right now I'm reading Sacred Economics. It's my nonfiction book, and the sequel to Dune is my fiction book. So a little bit about me and who's talking. Okay, so now I'm here to talk about PeopleDAO, and I'll start with talking about our backstory. So I think most people are probably familiar with Constitution DAO, but in November 2021, Constitution DAO galvanized Web3 around fundraising to buy a copy of the US Constitution. The group raised $45 million, but did end up losing the auction to buy that Constitution. So it eventually shuttered, and it basically orphaned their governance token that was meant to govern the Constitution. So they burned their control to the contract and just said, hey, whatever folks want to do with this token, you can do that. And I was really there in the moment, and I felt like there was a lot of pent up social energy. A lot of people were excited about buying the Constitution, and there was really nowhere for that social energy to go because the DAO shuttered. I, with some others, organize PeopleDAO, and we were one of a couple different organizations that sort of recognized the same thing, that folks, were excited about Web3, were excited about what the Constitution meant and the token as well, and wanted to do things. So really early on, we had a lot of people who had different visions for what we were going to do as a DAO. So we just figured, hey, let's just become a platform and sort of support all these different visions versus, committing to one in particular. But the common denominator is social impact. We only incubate projects that have that in some way are producing social impact. It's just a value that runs pretty deep in our community. So flash forward a year, and we've incubated 3 projects, to completion, and we're currently developing 4 more. So I'll do like little micro pitches for a couple of them. All right, so the Lost Children of Benin City. PeopleDAO funded Nigerian journalists to travel to Benin City in Nigeria and produce investigative reporting into human trafficking. Nigeria sits at the 81st percentile in terms of number of human trafficking victims, so fairly bad relative to other countries in the world. And 75% of victims trafficked to Italy hailed from the Benin City region in particular. So this was, just some context, this was a need identified by Nigerian members of our DAO. And so it was something that we voted on as a community and decided to support this investigative journalism. But going forward, the next step is to fund a full-length documentary. We have a partnership with an experienced production team that has placed pieces on major streaming platforms. So, the very necessary component then is to raise funds, right? So we're selling a NFT collection called Journey Owa, and that was created by our African community and inspired by Nigerian myths. We're doing that to raise funds. So yeah, if anybody's interested in learning more, feel free to reach out. I'll say that for all of these projects. Okay, another African culture project that we're incubating is AfroPeace. So it's showcasing African culture and history. Whitelist should go live in the next 2 weeks. The project seeks to tell stories that typically go unnoticed on the global stage about African art and war, hardship and strength. Countries like Nigeria show some of the highest rates of crypto adoption in the world, but we were spurred by some reports last summer that despite this high adoption, some African digital artists don't get the same opportunities for patronage that other artists do in other parts of the world. So this project is fully African-led, and it's featuring members from across the continent. They picked all of the different pieces of history that the project is featuring. Okay, moving on to this next project. LanguageDAO is a project that is successfully launched. It's not currently in development. We launched it spring of last year. So originally conceived as a Web3 native translation service, because we noticed that a lot of machine translation was not picking up on terms that were specific to crypto. It wasn't doing a good job there. So we have capacity to translate Chinese English pairs, Turkish, Vietnamese, Spanish, and more. And some of our previous clients include, most notably that I'm super proud about, Kevin Iwaki's Green Pilled book. We've also, our clients include PizzaDAO, CultDAO, IDRIS, and WTF Academy. So yeah, recently with the explosion of ChatGPT and just the rapid improvement of natural language processing is prompting us to rethink our value proposition, because the AI is getting better at translating. So as of right now, one thing we're piloting is analytics for DAOs that are aimed at quantifying the language diversity in the DAO. So, how many people speak X language? How many people don't speak English, when English is oftentimes this sort of the language that the DAO organization is running on primarily. And taking that one step further, trying to figure out, okay, how if there is a lot of non-English speakers, people who aren't being served sufficiently, like how do we up that accessibility? So maybe it's more translated documents, maybe it's specific Discord channels, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a new, we're sort of mid pivot, trying to feel things out. Okay, last project I'll just end on. This is PerpX, Perpetual Futures Exchange with Regenerative Finance Mechanisms. From a product standpoint, the value proposition is it has a customizable interface, and it has some features that help traders manage a lot of different positions quickly. But what I'm most excited about is the regenerative part, and there is a fee that gets taken out of trades, and that fee will collect and then fund public goods. And then there's also actually inspired by FTX, this ability in app to donate profits philanthropically, like right there built in. We do have a working alpha version, and we're seeking product testers to join the team. It is a paid position. So that's the whole presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm curious, I see talk about like incubating sub DAOs and projects that like are working towards furthering Web3 and social good. And I'm curious about like that process and how you create these sub DAOs underneath of PeopleDAO.
Yeah, I mean, thanks so much for basically identifying a huge hole in the presentation, which is teaching people how they can apply if they want to. Yeah, we have basically a proposal process. People can post, as of right now, they post in a specific channel in our Discord. There's a period of community comment, and then it goes to a sort of steering committee to who have some expertise to really thoroughly vet and synthesize that comments. And if it does pass that point, then it goes up to a vote for the funding part, because we do want the DAO at large to vote when it comes to distributing funding. And then also maybe you want to know a little bit about what incubation entails. So it includes strategic direction. We have a lot of marketing reach. We have experience related to governance and decentralization, and we'll provide that seed funding. We'll contribute a designated project manager who will just generally be helpful and keep things moving along. And we'll also leverage the different teams within the DAO. So maybe the project needs a design, like a flyer or something, or some sort of marketing materials, and we'll leverage our design team for that. And then maybe your question is also asking a bit about sub DAOs specifically, because sub DAOs are an interesting entity. We started with creating sub DAOs way back last spring. So they're still pretty new, but they're even more new back then. We don't really have a cookie cutter model for this sub DAO. Like I think it's basically like a per or organization agreement. Sometimes in the case of PerpX, the agreement is that there will be some funding, there will be some fee revenue that kind of trickles into PeopleDAO, but other sub DAOs we've had don't have that financial relationship. And they're fully independent, and they're almost more like family, right? Like PeopleDAO doesn't impose governance like authority over the sub DAOs. But yeah, again, just to highlight, it's sort of a case by case basis for the different groups. Hope that answered your question. Welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like somebody from your team kind of like holds their hand and walks them through the process and provides like support for any gaps that they might be having as they come into a DAO. And I guess my question is then, like, are these projects that are already really Web3 familiar, or are there other projects that maybe you're onboarding from a space that is Web3 not crypto native? Sorry.
Yeah, so I would say that we don't do a lot of outreach outside of Web3. So I think that everybody comes to us is at least a bit familiar with that. Although, I say that at the same time, I do know some of our members, like I think in particular Nigerians, they're bringing their friends in and working with us and for the DAO, I think is actually their first experience in Web3, which is cool. But in terms of projects, yeah, my sense is that they're mostly folks who are already familiar with Web3, and we're actually going to be pivoting from an incubator model, taking on earlier stage projects, to an accelerator model, where we're accepting applicants that are further along and have like at least an existing prototype. And that's just in part because of, we recognize that we're a smaller DAO, and we want to we don't have the time and resources, honestly, in this really, really fast moving crypto market to be taking on a lot of different really early stage projects. But I think that answers your question related to like the Web3 experience of the person and also the stage of the project, I think.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have one question. I saw earlier on in the presentation that you raised $45 million to attempt to buy a copy of the auction or a copy of the Constitution through an auction, and it didn't go through. So did you manage to channel the funds raised into something else, or what did you end up doing with it?
Yeah,
Or
so
what
to be no, for sure. Yeah, it sometimes gets sort of like unclear. So to be clear, PeopleDAO is not Constitution DAO. PeopleDAO formed in the wake of Constitution DAO dissolving. So there are no core team members from Constitution DAO in PeopleDAO. We were just all community members of Constitution DAO. But more specifically about the funding, that question. So the way Constitution DAO worked is, they raised $45 million, and they actually had an agreement with Juicebox, the fundraising platform, to allow everybody to refund in full if that's what they want to. And then Constitution DAO burned the keys to that contract, so they can't change the configurations, they can't mint any more token. So basically, all of that ETH is sitting in the Juicebox contract, and some people have chosen to refund, but many people have chosen to not refund their People token. I think a big part of that is that it's trading a lot higher than that underlying ETH value. But so we don't actually have access to any of those funds, and there's still millions of dollars sitting there. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Thank you.
Yeah, it is crazy. All of the funds we have are the result of donations from our community, as well as we'll have like agreements with sub-DAOs that if we help them grow from the egg stage, when they do decentralize and mature, that they'll give us like a share of their fundraising. Yeah.
We got about 2 more minutes left till we get to the top of the hour. I guess I have another question about just projects in general, and like how many sub-DAOs you guys currently have, and how can we, help get them on the platform as projects maybe, so that we can help to promote donations to them and also reward people for donating to them.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of active, we have one sub-DAO, and then those 4. Oh, there's the 3 projects I mentioned, and there's another one I didn't mention. So in total 5 that we'd love to have on the platform. Honestly, this might be an opportunity for like really public and narrow technical assistance, but like how I would love to put all those projects on Giveth, and I just how do I do it? How do I verify them as well? That was another question I had.
I can help you. Yeah, we can connect after this call, definitely. That's easy to do. There's only 4. And if you have somebody that's helping to kind of like hold their hand in stuff, we would just need to figure out some details and get them the agency to create their projects and fill out the application for verification.
Sweet. I'll definitely follow up with you. Love to hear that. And thanks so much, everybody, for having me. It was great to hear your call too. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, PeopleDAO.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. It was our 151st community call. So good to see you guys, and what an exciting week we have ahead of us. So
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. Bye.